Welcome to Raise the Bar Smart Money Podcast. Your host, Juan Pablo Delgado, who is a business owner, co-founder of RTB Latinx and Financial Pro, will take you with business owners, professionals, and people who are in the hustle. Raise the Bar Smart Money Podcast es un espacio para cotorrear sobre negocios, emprendimiento, la vida misma y el billete. Bienvenidos.
My guest is Ean Price Murphy, business owner of Moxie Bookkeeping. Ean is a business coach and certified profit-first professional. She enjoys sharing her perspectives on small business, bookkeeping, and the strategies companies can use to better manage cash flow and maximize profit. Ean also loves to work with creative businesses and non-profits companies deeply engaged with their work but frequently not comfortable with their numbers. She said, when the money makes sense, organizations thrive, and so do their communities. Unlike other consultants, Ean isn't a Wall Street or corporate runaway. She has decades of first-hand knowledge of the challenges of being a small business owner with staff. You can get the 4 steps to the permanent profitability without selling your soul, visiting moxiebookkeeping.com and learn more golden nuggets. Ean, welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you, and please tell our community about yourself, your journey. What do you think people should know about you?
Well, I'm a California native. My mother was also born here. My father is from the East Coast. So after I graduated from high school in California, I moved to New York and lived in Brooklyn for 30 years. And that was where I sort of found my footing. The interesting part of my story and who sort of makes me who I am today is that when I was in my 20s, right after college, a lot of my friends were starting businesses, starting families, starting careers, and I was filing for bankruptcy.
Wow.
And it was horrible. And it wasn't because, I wasn't spending like crazy. My debt was almost totally groceries and gas and telephone bills. It was just that I was under earning and that I was financially illiterate. And I didn't know how to read any of the warning signs that would tell me that there was no way that I could survive on my income. And so even though I was sharing a 4-bedroom apartment with 7 people, I was racking up tens of thousands of dollars of debt until the debt was so big that I would have been paying it for the rest of my life unless I did bankruptcy.
I see. Wow.
So that was a big wake-up call for me and led me to pursue learning about how money works and what to watch out for and what's important, and to sort of take charge of my own financial destiny by working for myself rather than for others.
I love that. And please tell us about your business and how you started after that experience.
So started this business. It's called Moxie Bookkeeping, which ties in very nicely to wanting to understand money. So at the time that I filed for bankruptcy, I was working for a woman who had hired me to be her office receptionist, just answer phones. And I ended up working with her for a few years and becoming her office manager, doing all of her bookkeeping, negotiating her contracts. And I said to her, listen, the job that you hired me for and the job I'm doing now are very different. And people that do what I do make $10 an hour more than you're paying me. And she said, well, I'll pay you a quarter more. And, so that was sort of one of the final.
What explained it? Okay.
Wow.
So she just felt like she couldn't afford it, which was true because she was running her business in a crazy way where she had, a lot of debt herself. And so, that was sort of the last straw before my bankruptcy because I knew that she wasn't going to help me.
Right.
So we ended up parting ways on friendly terms. And thankfully, she was very well connected to a community of people that were also tradespeople, artists, craftspeople, designers. And so using the bookkeeping skills that I had learned through working with her, started freelancing as a bookkeeper. And that, I was always trying to help clients avoid the mistakes that I had made and answer their questions so that they could take home enough. And we just eventually grew, and now there's 10 of us.
Right. No, I love it. I love your story. And what are some lessons that you learned from that experience that you can share with us?
I think one is you have to pursue with a great passion earning what you need. That it's not enough to earn what you're worth, because I made the mistake of hearing I'm only worth 25 cents more. And so I thought there must have been something missing from my professional development or my skill set that I wouldn't be able to get a better job. I just didn't have the confidence. So I think that, learning that you figure out how much you need and then you figure out how to get it, rather than saying, this is how much I think you think I should be worth, and having someone say no.
Right.
So that was a big thing. And just, the other big thing was how little money management we are taught, how little information we're given, unless you have a family that did an exceptional job.
Right, exactly. We don't know how money works from early stages. And tell me about the day you realized you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to run your own business and keep going and keep building.
The thing that took me from a freelancer to an entrepreneur was, after working for myself for a few years and being happy, I was also still very busy. And I was still trading time for money. And what that meant to me was, sooner or later, I'm going to need to take time off, whether it's I get sick or someone that I know gets sick, or maybe a family member just gets married and I want to take a month to go do that. I could only take off a week without interrupting my client flow, and that I would be very busy before and very busy after. So I realized that if my purpose was to really serve as many businesses as possible to help them from experiencing financial hardship, that I was going to have to get help, and that would also allow me that if I did need time off, I had someone else to rely on. And so I hired one person. She's still with us. She's amazing. And and that worked out well enough, thankfully, that then we grew so fast that soon she was full. And so we hired somebody else. And eventually I was like, I don't want to do all of the back end. I don't want to do my own bookkeeping anymore. I have better things to do, right? To go meet the clients and make the sales. And that's true of all of us. So I hired an office manager to help with the administrative work and the billing. And she has also really transformed the business into something bigger and beautiful that I had not expected.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful. And what do you like the most about your business right now?
So I am in a period of growth right now, which means a little bit of extra work.
Right.
But I love that when I'm working more, it's because I'm choosing it. It's for my benefit. So I never have a long work day or, or an extra day of work without knowing why I'm choosing to take that time away from something else. Mm-hmm. And I'm very much looking forward to going back to only working 25 hours, 20 hours a week and being able to keep the same salary.
Right. Money is freedom. And what are your thoughts about financial independence?
So one of my favorite sayings is, it's time for radically kind people to become comfortable with power and money. Because working with a lot of creative people like I do, there's still a lot of shame around money. It's not something that most people are comfortable talking about. You know, if someone says, oh, I earn $100,000, someone would say, oh, so much? And someone else would say, oh, so little? And so the numbers carry so much with them that we're, I think, afraid to be open about our very real struggles with not knowing. It's not good business to say, I don't understand. It doesn't make us look like a CEO if we say, I'm unsure what to do next. So I really like this idea of trying to just be comfortable with being uncomfortable while learning something that will help bring you to the next place. Because without financial independence, we cannot have generational wealth. And as important as it is for us to be able to live happy and comfortable lives, it's our responsibility to make sure that the people who come behind us don't have to struggle as much, that they have better access, better resources, better tools, and that unfortunately, traditionally in this country, generational wealth has been one of the biggest ways that people who have money keep money and keep people who are newer to financial stability from being able to pass that on to their family or to their community.
100% agree with you, and thank you for sharing that. That was very powerful. And what accomplishments are you most proud of, and why?
I think that I'm most proud of just hanging in there. Being a business owner is not easy. For every one fantastic employee that I hire 10 that are anywhere from not so great to really no good at all. And it can be very heartbreaking and very painful. So I'm very thankful that I'm able to be aware and grateful for everything I have. Every morning, that's the first thing I do when I wake up is, remember all of the gifts that have been given to me by the people around me and by, my meeting people where they are. And that motivates me for the day. So I just, I think I'm very proud of just hanging in there because it can be so easy to get discouraged and give up. And there are times when one should give up. I think that's my bankruptcy. My bankruptcy was saying, this is not something that is going to be reasonable for me to overcome. This is something that I need to say, I'm done. I'm setting this down. I'm stopping the struggle, and I'm going to start over.
Right.
So I'm pretty proud of being able to do that.
Right. That's remind me like persist, pivot, or concede.
Right. And I would say I actually, in my case, I had to concede before I could pivot because I had to get rid of the old blocks. There was no pivoting anywhere else until I and this is a different topic, but I think this is also true with managing our time and managing our energy. There's only so much more we can pile on top. In order to do something well, we have to know what we're going to stop doing. And sometimes that's something very small, like, put down the phone and stop scrolling through social media. And it's something giant, like stop pretending like you aren't bankrupt because you are. So, yeah.
Right. No, thank you for sharing that. Very powerful. And Ian, you seem very confident right now. Was that always the case?
No. No, it wasn't. I was a very shy child.
Really?
I'm definitely an introvert.
Wow.
I love my quiet alone time. But thankfully, before I knew I was going to spend my life as a bookkeeper, I had done some theater, so I have some skill at speaking. And I think that that's the thing that's so important to remember is that, people say, oh, I'm no good with numbers. It's just a skill. People say, oh, I'm no good at public speaking. It's just a skill. It's a skill that is for sure easier for some people and harder for others, just like driving a car. Some people take to it very naturally with very little fear. The first time I got behind the wheel of my father's 1973 stick shift Volkswagen Beetle, I was terrified. I couldn't, it's like, So, but I learned. And I learned bookkeeping, and I learned, these things. I learned the confidence by doing it. I was not confident. And I think this is true also of now what they're calling imposter syndrome, where people feel like, oh, I don't really have a right to say that I'm an expert yet. To me, imposter syndrome is a beautiful sign that you're stretching into something new and just not confident yet. It doesn't mean you don't deserve to be there or that you don't have great information to add. It just means that your mindset hasn't quite caught up yet. But if you do it a bunch of times, soon you will be an expert and you'll feel like an expert. And hopefully, if you're lucky, you'll have something else to grow into and feel like an imposter.
Right. I love that. I love that. And thank you for sharing. And that's because you right now have the right mindset because, with all those experience and everything. And I wonder, what's the most exciting thing that you're working on right now? I mean, you mentioned before growing stage in your business.
Yep. So the reason that we're growing is because we have already been a virtual bookkeeping firm. So that move to virtual that everyone else is doing, we've already been there, and it was great. So now that everyone is comfortable working online and getting sessions, consulting, advice from people through Zoom, we're ready to help people nationwide. And so that's the growth for us is developing a group program where we used to do only one-on-one coaching, that now we've done a couple of group programs, and we're trying to really promote that and get that out there so that people who want to learn this simple cash management system so that they no longer feel like they're in chaos or they don't know what to do next with their business money, because I think that's true of, again, a lot of people are embarrassed to say, I have money in the bank. I don't know what to do with it. How much can I pay myself? I know I'm supposed to pay myself first, but how?
Wow, exactly. Tell us a little bit more about that and what's the best way for the community to get in touch with you or your company.
Yeah. So the group course that we're hosting is called Abundantly Clear because we think that that's how your finances should be. It should be clear. It should be easy. It should be abundant. And so we teach the profit first cash management method of maximizing every dollar by giving every dollar a job and every dollar a home, so that you have a clear, consistent system to set aside money for profit, for taxes, for a regular paycheck for yourself, and that you're only spending what's left over after that. And so the easiest way to find us is at our website, which is moxiebookkeeping.com. And I can also give you a PDF to share in the show notes about the simple ways to keep more of what you earn. That sort of outlines that system.
Oh, yes, please do. Absolutely. And got it. Thank you for sharing that. And Ean, what leaders, mentors, or entrepreneurs do you respect or look up, and why?
One of my favorites is Brene Brown, because I think that she really humanized what it means to be a leader. You know, she's talking about being open and vulnerable. You know, Mike Michalowicz, who's the man that wrote Profit First, is a personal friend, a close mentor of mine. I think really people who understand that that profit isn't for profit's sake. Profit is about stability, freedom, impact. You know, if you don't, just because you make $1 million doesn't mean you have to keep $1 million. You can go out and, you know, sponsor something in your town, or help someone else, or mentor, or give back. Because I personally find the most reward in life out of being of service to others, and I think that's true for many of us. And so finding a way to take care of yourself,
absolutely,
so that you can better take care of others. Anyone that has that philosophy, I'm 100% behind.
I love it, and 100% agree with you. And by the way, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, and of course, how much you invest.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And Ean, what legacy would you want to leave behind?
My hope, my goal is, charity is a big part of my business. We're actually members of an organization called 1% for the Planet, where I pledge 1% of my gross revenue to environmental causes, and I try to match that with another 1% to social justice. Yeah. So my hope is that someday I will be able to write one check for $1 million to one of my favorite organizations. I don't know which one yet. That may not happen until after I die, but that's the goal is to do it while I can still enjoy it. So we're working toward every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I love it. I love it, and thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And before we wrap this up, a final message that you would like to share with our audience?
Just start somewhere, baby steps. So if you like this idea of getting organized and trying to pay yourself first, if you have a savings account, just start by taking 1% of all new income and set that aside into savings. And then after 3 months, go look at it and take some of it out and invest, or take some of it out and treat yourself. But just start with something as simple as saving 1% of your income and see if that motivates you to take the next step.
I love it. Yeah, the first golden rule is pay yourself first. Exactly. I love it. I love it. Ean Price Murphy, we're wishing you all the best. Thank you for being in the podcast, and be safe and keep raising the bar.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed and learned from this podcast interview. Keep raising the bar with belief, action, and results. If you're looking for more valuable content, please visit our YouTube channel, Raise the Bar. Hasta pronto.